Hello and welcome to the New York Sports Show, the best place for all of your New York sport content. I'm Dominic Konowski, and on the line today we have New York Yankees prospect Alex Mauricio, who's currently with the High A Hudson Valley Renegades, pitching. Overall has appeared in 23 games so far this 2022 baseball season. Alex, welcome to the NYSS. It's an honor to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here, Dominic. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So, Alex, being a minor leaguer, what is it like?
If there was honestly a two-word summary, I would just have to say a grind, both physically and mentally. Our character is constantly being tested in regards to things you can and can't control. Things you can control in regards to your performance and your preparation, but even more so the things you can't control. These things seem to be more challenging, if anything, because you prepare the best you can to control what you can control. But when you get hurt playing hard, or you feel like you shouldn't be where you are in regards to being transferred between levels, or in our case, not being able to move up because there's just so many talented individuals ahead of you. That tends to weigh on you a little more at times rather than performance because, you very well could be performing very well, but so are others ahead of you. So it's a love-hate relationship, to say the least, for some people. But I've worked plenty of different 9-to-5 jobs during my early retirement, so I would choose this grind over anything because of the opportunities it presents to you and your family. If you just stay committed to your goal, which for everyone in our shoes is the major leagues, regardless of what team you make it with.
Yeah, I think you just worded that perfectly. And over the past several years, too, we've seen a lot of minor leaguers speak out about the grind that they have to go on and what they face when it comes to being in a team's minor league system, and especially the mental toll that it could take on you. So, overall, when it comes to being a minor leaguer going into the game, whether it's starting or coming in relief, what do you do to prepare for that?
In regards to the physical aspects of preparation, there I think is only but so much you can do on the pitching aspect of things. It's not like we can go out there and throw 100 throws before the game to try and get a certain pitch down or anything like that. It's a lot of feel physically. So I would say more so a lot of the preparation that comes from the pitching aspect of baseball comes from the mental side. To be able to put yourself in situations that you haven't been in, so that when you are in them, it's not your first time. Visualization is one of the biggest things I think that young athletes can be better with in regards to sports is visualization. If you can, visualize yourself, being successful or doing whatever you need to do to be successful, you're going to follow that path a lot more than if you didn't put yourself in that mental state. So I think the preparation side of things is, it's the mental side of things is getting shown more in light, and I love that because, back in the day it was all physical, whether or not you could hit the ball far, or whether or not you could throw the ball hard. But now it's about whether or not you can command your pitches, have an idea of what your strengths are as a pitcher, and to be able to use those to allow you to, take advantage of your opportunities more, in the better, I guess, to say.
Yeah, and Alex, you're definitely taking advantage of those opportunities. So far, you have more strikeouts than innings pitched, appearing in almost 33 innings, 32 and 2/3 so far the season, and you have 40 Ks to your name. Now, would you say that you're more of a strikeout pitcher or a guy that's just trying to create some soft contact and have your defense throw him out?
I think for me personally, when I try to pitch for the strikeout, I tend to get a little too fine and a little too perfect. So I think my biggest change from the beginning of the season and from when I really started to settle down was just my overall aggressive intent on my pitches. Like I said, I noticed when I was trying to be too fine, I was missing big. So when I started just having more of an aggressive intent as opposed to the location of my pitches, it seemed to play
That's really cool and very good. As you mentioned, you're not starting, you're coming in relief. How hard is it to sit through a baseball game for about 6, 7, possibly even 8 innings, then coming out very late in the game to try to help your team hold the lead, or possibly in a save situation, or just to not allow the opposition to score any more runs?
I think a lot of that has to do with my energy. It is challenging at times because I am a very high energetic athlete. I always bring that fire to the field, so to be able to contain that for, 5 to 7 innings, 8 innings at a time, to be able to come into the ninth is challenging at times. But knowing my teammates and knowing that, they count on me in that time, keeps me mentally focused and ready to perform in the time they need me to.
And coming in and performing, so far this season, you performed better in away games, which we don't really see a lot in players, no matter what level it is. Your stats in away games are better. ERA-wise, almost over a full point lower than your home ERA. You've appeared in just one more away game than home game, but I've pitched the same number of innings, home and away, 16 1/3. And the biggest thing I'm looking at is the opponent batting average away. It's a 233 batting average. Do you feel more comfortable playing in away stadiums compared to the home stadium?
I think a lot of that just kind of has to go back with the energy. I feed off the energy, from my team and especially from my environment in regards to the crowd. So it just has, me tend to play out that, the more higher energetic games that I played in will happen to be, on the road. But I don't think that's, a big kind of, difference between whether or not I perform good is whether or not I'm home or away. I think that's kind of irrelevant. I think it's more so just the energy I get from the environment.
Yeah, and a lot of energy, a lot of good energy you have had this season. You're coming off of a very powerful month of June. You're coming off a very powerful month of June where you had a 0.93 ERA. What was it like pitching in June compared to the other months so far this season?
I think the biggest difference, again, was just understanding my strengths. My pitching coach, Spencer Medic, did a great job of breaking that down to me. The beginning of the season, I had a little bit of a hiccup, and that just kind of went back to not understanding my strengths. I didn't necessarily know what pitch played off of, the pitch before, so I couldn't necessarily set up any of the at-bats that I wanted to, like I should have. So in the month of June, Medic made it a very good representation of how successful I could be if I understood my strengths. So I took a lot of time to, kind of dissect my pitches and, the metrics that go behind it, and we came with a solution that I needed to just stop being so fine and just being aggressive and knowing that my pitches are good, they're plus stuff, and I just need to trust that with the aggressive intent.
Yeah, trust and having a correct mindset is everything in baseball. And so far, like you said, a mini hiccup at the beginning of the season, but so far you've been able to correct that and succeed heavily after that correction. So you were drafted by the New York Yankees back in 2017. No matter where you are on the world, everyone knows who the New York Yankees are. They're one of the most famous sports franchises ever. Was it like to be part of the New York Yankees organization?
I would have to say I take that very close to heart. One of the things I say to my teammates all the time is I thank God every day for making me a Yankee. And there are times where it does. You think about that. You think about that thought, but nonetheless, they have treated me with utmost care and respect. When I leave that complex or when I leave that facility, I walk around with a chip on my shoulder knowing that I play for the organization young player that you played for the New York Yankees, they tend to stop talking and tend to open up their ears. And that's, first and foremost when it comes to coaching is the ability to absorb knowledge. So just to be able to have that is huge for me because I know a lot and I want to pass on that knowledge. So for people to just understand where I come from is huge, to be able to not have to explain that I know what I'm talking about or I know where I've been, or I don't have to explain my experiences. I've been here, played for the New York Yankees. My word is, or what my knowledge is my knowledge, if that makes sense.
No, that makes 100% sense. That is so cool. I don't think I've ever heard someone explain something quite like that. That is so cool. Everything you just said, I think you said that perfectly. And what it means to be a New York Yankee, it's such a special thing, and you're definitely making the best out of it, and I cannot stress that enough. So, kind of, I don't know if it's bouncing off that question, but your favorite memory so far in your baseball career as a whole?
Man, that'd be tough. I've been playing this game since I was 8, and I'm 25, about to turn 26 now. But if I were to sum it up to one memory that was probably the most exciting, it would have to be that the day I got drafted. I never really watched baseball growing up. It always made me kind of want to just play the sport. So I kind of, gravitated away from watching it. But nonetheless, I grew up watching highlights of Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera, and my dad, being the Yankee fan that he was ever since we started playing baseball, man, he just started bouncing off the walls in excitement when we heard my name get called. It was one of the best and most exciting and memorable moments of my life. And I thank God every day for making me a Yankee.
Yeah, I cannot express how you probably must have felt. It must have been, in a way, a surreal feeling being drafted by the New York Yankees, especially if your family were Yankee fans, too. That must have been an unbelievable feeling, and definitely something you will never forget.
For sure.
Now, when it comes to your baseball career, who would you say is your biggest inspiration or your mentor, in a way, that has helped you get to the point where you are now?
I would have to give a shout out to my man Mickey Roberts. He was my travel coach back in the day, and he just he set a very good example of what it meant to be in love with the sport. There were opportunities where he could have made it a business, and like a lot of people nowadays, and he made it to the point where he cared about our success, opportunities that this game could provide for not only us but our families as well. So that was I think he was the biggest mentor of my life to this day, just knowing how he went about his business, how he took care of the families that he was involved with, and the overall inspiration he gave to us, because he was always, he would always bring in the athletes that moved on from high school, and he was a high school coach in Prince George, Virginia, and Jackie Bradley Jr. went to his high school. A lot of well-known names came from him, and they're all just stand-up, well citizens. So you can't help but gravitate towards that and towards that energy and kind of follow with that.
That is so awesome. A true mentor there, undoubtedly. Now,
Absolutely.
Final question, Alex. Is there anything else that you would like to say, or anyone that you would like to thank before we go?
I would definitely like to thank Lauren. I can't remember her last name, but she was in the mental conditioning department for the Yankees when I first got here in 2017. She really opened up my eyes to how big mental health is and how seriously we should take it, and the advantages of taking it seriously, just to better not only your life, in competitive day-to-day basis, but as well as outside of life. You know what I mean? To be able to take what you learn in baseball and to use it on a day-to-day basis outside the field. I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned and adjusted from, to the point where my early retirement to now. I've kind of had a different vision, a different focus. I was very
That is so cool, and hopefully the opportunities you get in the future lead you to even greater and better things. Thank you for coming on, Alex, folks. Once again, that was Alex Mauricio, pitcher in the New York Yankees organization, currently playing in the minor leagues with the Hudson Valley Renegades. Alex, thank you for joining us here on the New York Sports Show.